Hey, welcome to my channel. So you're thinking of getting a Mantis Q or a DJI Spark? Well, here's a DJI Spark and here's a Mantis Q, and I'm going to compare them in this here video. How about we start off with taking a look at the, well, physical features of each. So here's a little segment on that. Check it out. And now a size comparison between the DJI Spark and the Yuneec Mantis Q. Check out the size difference. There we go. So you see the Spark, the arms do not fold, so it looks, well, maybe it looks large, but watch this. When I unfold the Mantis, the Spark will then look rather small. Now there are many similarities between the two. For example, if you look at the Spark, it has foldable props, brushless motors, and LED lights on the bottom. The Mantis has foldable props, brushless motors, and LED lights on the bottom. The only real difference is that the props on the Spark are removable just by pushing and turning. And on the Mantis, you'll see to remove the props, you actually have to remove 2 screws first. Both of these drones allow you to capture high quality video and save it on a micro SD card. The Spark puts its micro SD card here in the back. There's one right here. And on the Mantis, the micro SD card is right here. Next, we'll take a quick look at the sensors that come with the drones. So the Spark, for sensors, it has 2 sensors on the bottom, that's for height, and a positioning sensor right here, which is used also for precision takeoff and precision landing. Plus, the Spark has obstacle avoidance sensors in the front. The Mantis Q has 2 ultrasonic height sensors right here, plus a little camera positioning system right there. In reality, you get about 13 minutes of flight time, and in reality, you get about maybe 26-28 minutes of flight time. It's also important to point out that the DJI Spark uses a smart battery, so you can see how much power is remaining in the battery. The battery also discharges automatically. The Yuneec Mantis battery has no buttons on it to show you how much power is remaining, and it does not automatically discharge. To power on the drones, the Spark uses a system where you use the battery itself to turn the drone on, whereas the Mantis Q uses an external power button up here. Taking a quick look at the cameras, we see that the DJI Spark has a 2-axis gimbal, so the Spark has the ability to keep the gimbal still, moving like this and like this. But when it moves this way, it has to use electronic image stabilization. Looking at the Mantis Q, we see it has a 1-axis gimbal and a little bit of vibration dampening. It does not have any access to go like this, or like this. It has to use electronic image stabilization for all 3 of those axes. And now we'll do a quick weight of the drones. The Spark comes in at 303 grams, and the Mantis Q comes in at 482 grams. So you've seen the features of each drone, and if I hold them like this, doesn't the Mantis Q look bigger? Well, wouldn't that make you think that the Mantis Q flies faster than the Spark? Well, you'd be right, it does fly faster. But does it fly farther than the Spark? How about we check that out? Watch this test. Got the Spark, switch it into sport mode. We're at a height of 40 meters. 3, 2, 1, go. Distance 100 meters. Distance 200 meters. Got the antennas pointing nicely. 300 meters. 400 meters. 500 meters. 600 meters. $700 meters. Looks like 723 meters. I have lost signal. Going into return to home at 723 meters. Actually, now it said 780 meters, so correct that. It's showing me it was at 780 meters returning to home. So that was the range with the Spark, which is on its way back. It's coming back, it's on return to home. I'm just going to see how well it lands on precision landing here. I'm going to I'm going to turn the camera, it's right above. I'm going to turn the camera down so it looks at us. And we'll see where it's going to land. So far it looks okay, at least it's coming back to the general area. All right, Spark, how are you gonna do? Coming back from over 780 meters, where are you gonna land? Close to the landing pad, on the landing pad, or perfectly where you took off? If you're in the H, then you're perfect. Looking good so far. I'd say that's pretty darn good, Spark. All right. Well done for the Spark. All right, we got the Mantis. Unfold the Mantis. Power up the Mantis so it gets some GPS signal. Recording at 1080p, same as the Spark. There we go. We'll take the Mantis up. The Mantis flies much faster than the Spark for rising. Like I am making it go up very slow now just so I can keep it in the frame. But we'll take it up to the same height. Just like the Spark, I'm going to flick this into sport mode. And the antennas down here are like that. I'm just going to move these antennas up a bit like this because, hang on a sec. No, antennas are like that. I hold the controller like this, so the antenna should be pointing out that way. It should be okay. So here we go. 3, 2, 1, go. I forgot to put the camera up. There we go. I got the camera facing up. We're still moving though. Let me call out. We are at 200 meters. 300 meters. 400 meters. This thing is so fast. 500 meters. 600 meters. 700 meters. Is it going to beat the Spark? Look at this. 800 meters. Oh, look at that. We're beating the Spark. We're still going. 900 meters. 933. 1,000 meters. So we're at a kilometer. 1,057. 1,100. 1,200 meters. 1,300 meters. 1,400 meters. 1,500 meters. That's 1.5 kilometers. It's coming up to, is it going to make it? 1563 is where it says connection lost. 1,563 meters, the connection was lost. Now, I don't see anything on my screen that says return to home or anything. It just says nothing's happening. Disconnected. I got nothing. Let's see if my drone even returns. The drone is returning to home, but it's flying backwards. It flies backwards and return to home. That's why I'm not seeing me, I'm seeing the field. This is hilarious. All right, I gotta move the camera down so you can see where it's landing. All right. Here it comes. Oh, I better get out of the way. Well, at least we know it returns to home. And we know it can do an awesome distance, which I'm rather surprised and rather impressed that it did that distance. There it is, coming down. Just move the camera back up so I don't dirty it. And there we go. Perfect. All right, well, that's a little bit off the landing pad, but you did an awesome distance, so I'll give you that. All right, so that test is over, and I'm sure everybody who owns a Spark is going, I can fly my Spark farther than that guy. Well, guess what? I flew this Spark last year when it first came on the market, and I got 1 mile out of it, but I didn't get a mile when I did the test against the Mantis Q, so that tells me that the Mantis Q has better antennas in the Mantis Q and better antennas in the controller, because the Spark should go at least a mile as well, but look at how tiny the antennas are. They're they're right in the back of this thing here. They're not very well situated. So, you know, the slightest interference, and the controller is really not that powerful. So some days you might get a mile. So other days, maybe not. It all depends on interference, time of day, all that other good stuff. But the Mantis Q did well. So in that test, did we learn anything? Well, I did, because I'm used to flying DJI drones and other brands, and I'm so used to the Spark and other brands. They usually stop when they lose communication, turn around, and come home. Spark does that because it has obstacle avoidance here, and it wants to face the direction it's flying back in case there's something in its way. The Mantis, however, has no obstacle avoidance, so it flies forward, stops, and, well, just flies straight backwards. And the Mantis does not give you a notification right away that it's coming home. I had to wait about a minute before I got notification on my screen, whereas the Spark immediately says, signal loss, coming home. And the last thing we saw was the Spark has precision landing. That landed really well. The Mantis Q, well, it landed within the vicinity. Oh, and one last thing really quick, just in case I get one of those silly comments where somebody says, hey, you should have used an OTG cable with your controller and attach it to your phone, because then your Spark will fly farther. That makes no difference, because you have to remember your phone is only attached to the controller. Either you attach it by Wi-Fi the controller, or you attach it by a cable to the controller. Nothing is going to cause the Spark to fly farther other than a good communication between your controller and the Spark. All right, so now we're going to go to the next test, which is the follow me test. How well does the Mantis Q and the Spark, how well do they operate in follow me? Well, I flew both of them at the same time. They almost crashed into each other multiple times, and here's the video. All right, the Spark's on the left, the Mantis on the right, and we're going to take them up and try follow me mode. Mantis taking off. Whoa, the wind's got the Mantis, it's over there. Come on back, Mantis. Yeah, come on back. There we go, that's good. There. At least the GPS brings it back after it takes off. All right, so I'm gonna put the Mantis up. Spark is following me and the Mantis is following me. I'm looking back, this is what it looks like from my point of view. You can see the Spark is lower than the Mantis for good reason, so that they don't hit each other. Interesting thing is they're both keeping pretty much, no, I was going to say they're keeping the same distance or not. The Spark, whoa, the Mantis is getting scary close to the Spark. Holy cow. Let me just move this way. And you can see the Spark still has me, but the Mantis thinks I'm over there. Hey, Mantis, whoa, buddy, whoa, I'm this way. What are you following? Hang on a sec. All right, so this next test is called the Running Man. You ready? Who is going to be able to follow me? I'm just going to run to that white line over there without dropping any of these controllers. Here I go. Anybody following me? Oh, I'm running. Oh. All right, made it over here. Hey, they're both here. Hi guys. Thanks for coming along. All right. So the follow me seems to work. We had one little glitch on the Mantis where it lost me, but I think it's because it wasn't high enough in the air. The Mantis has an issue with height. It likes to be high to follow. It doesn't like to be low. So it seems to work well. And here's the opposite direction now. I'm just going to jog back to where I started. Hopefully they don't hit each other in the air because they're getting close to each other. Come on, guys. Oh, I'm not even there. Whoa, that Spark is high. Look at that, the Spark is like almost right under. Whoa. That is craziness. And that concludes the follow me test. So what did you think? Well, the takeaway would be, take a look at the image quality of both drones as they were following me around. Did you notice the grass was changing colors? Sometimes the image was overexposed, underexposed, or correctly exposed. Or sometimes the sun was shining in and reflecting off the lens, especially on the Mantis Q. You could see it on the corner. So, you know, these drones perform well most of the time. In certain lighting, they're not going to perform as well. The other takeaway that I didn't show in the video that I should have, but I totally forgot, was that the Spark right here has obstacle avoidance. So if I would have walked behind the tree as the drone was following me, the Spark would try to go around the tree, whereas the Mantis Q doesn't have obstacle avoidance, so it probably would have went into the tree. Now, I should point out the cameras on these drones now. As you saw in the follow me video, you probably noticed that the Spark's image was a little bit more stable than that of the Mantis Q. The Mantis Q probably did a bit of this with the image moving around, whereas the Spark looked like it was pretty much still. That's because the Spark actually has, well, well, a gimbal here, and the Mantis is fixed. There is no gimbal. Now, even though the Spark has a gimbal, it has to use electronic image stabilization when it moves like this, side to side, because it doesn't have a gimbal that moves that way. However, the Mantis, as I pointed out at the beginning of the video, doesn't have any real gimbal or axis. So when you move like this, when you move like this, and when you move like this, it has to use electronic image stabilization. Now, the selling feature of the Mantis, at least one of them, is that sure, it has electronic image stabilization and it's somewhat stable, but it also can record in 4K video, whereas the Spark can only record in 1080p. So with the Spark, you get a very stable image in 1080p resolution, and with the Mantis, you get a somewhat stable image in 1080p resolution, as long as there's not a lot of movement or wind. But when you switch over to 4K, which looks really good on the Mantis, there is no image stabilization. So when the drone moves like this and all over the place, well, your image kind of moves like that too. So on days where there's no wind and you fly your Mantis, your 4K is going to look, well, pretty good. But on days where your Mantis is moving around in the wind, or you're flying and putting the brakes on and it's doing this, your 4K is going to bounce all over the place. But that is a selling feature of the Mantis, having the 4K video resolution over the Spark, which only has 1080p. All right, moving on to the last test. This last test just takes a look at the different flight modes that come with these here drones. So we have quick shots on this drone, and we have, well, basically, I don't know what they call it on the Mantis Q, but there's a few flight modes, not very many. But we'll take a look at those now. Here we go. Okay, this is journey mode. Here we go. Journey mode. This would be the same as droney. So this is journey. Now the Mantis only has the point of interest, the journey mode, and the follow me. So there it goes to journey, and now it's coming back to me. The Mantis has orbit mode. So I put it over me, I hit start, I told it to do a 5-meter radius, there it goes, and to circle me. So that should be circling me nicely. So it's a very simple feature on here. Doesn't matter how low or how high you are. It's up to me to adjust the camera. It doesn't focus on me. So here I have to bring the camera up a little bit as it goes around. And those are the only two modes that the Mantis has. It just has journey and orbit, and then of course the follow me mode, which is a different type feature. So here, let me stop that. All right, here's the Spark. The Spark has a mode called droney, which is similar to journey. Same idea, it just goes backwards. And the only difference is the recording. You can have a continuous recording. It will just record this here event, and it will make a separate file of it. It won't, see, it ends there. It's not going to record coming back to me now. It has the circle mode, which is, it's right there. So I say go, 3, 2, 1. It will do just like the Mantis Q and go around me. There we are. The only difference is that on the Spark, it actually uses like the follow me. The camera locks onto me, so I don't have to adjust the camera anywheres. It does it automatically. Now the Spark also has 2 other quick shot modes. It has Helix, which is this one here. It's going to do sort of like a corkscrew. It's going to go around but out and up. So there we go. It's going up. Hey, Canada geese back there. It's going up, and as it goes around, it's getting farther away this time. So that's the Helix mode. And the Spark also has rocket mode. So it's looking at me right here, and it's going to fire up in the sky. There we go, 3, 2, 1, it should go straight up in the air. And keep the camera on me. There we go, I'm squinting at the sun. Goes up. And that's rocket. That one's actually pretty good when you're on vacation. I like the rocket mode because you can't hit anything. It's just going straight up and shows you the landscape around you, which is nice. All right, now I got the spectators of kids. Check this out. Look at my audience. There they are. I should also mention that the Spark has the gesture modes. You know, you put your hand up, you move your hand, and the Spark follows it. You can wave your hand and do different things, and the Spark will fly away, come back, take pictures, start video, follow you. Well, that's kind of gimmicky. Some people use it, some people don't. The Mantis Q has one gesture mode that I'm aware of. You put it in photo mode and you select gesture, and if I wave at the drone with my arm, it will take a picture of me. But the gimmicky thing added to the Mantis Q is the voice control. So whereas the Spark has all those other gesture controls, the Mantis Q has the voice controls. All right, so that was the Spark versus the Mantis Q video. It's just feature for feature. There's really no drone better than the other. If you own the Spark, you have no need for the Mantis Q, and if you own the Mantis Q, you have no need for the Spark. You'll be happy with either drone. All right, so if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you have questions on either drone, or complaints, or comments, post them below. You know I just love comments. And stay tuned for more videos, because I love drones, and I've got a crap load of drones behind this camera that I have to review. All right, so take care, and we'll catch you in the next video.